Football is
Football
America.
is America. If you don't like it, you can kiss your candy ass for the moment in time. I don't give a damn. Oh my God. You love it.
It's 30 to 27. Chiefs win. Chiefs win 30 to 20.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sunday Night Football. This is going to be a good one. It's 10-0 right now. I'm coming in a little late. I had to post some videos, and I have to post this last one right now. But I'm super happy to be here. This is a big game. I mean, it's a playoff game for the Chiefs. Make no mistake about it. This is a playoff game. Not kind of like one. If the Chiefs lose this game, they're in big trouble and their playoff hopes are, I'm just going to call them over because they already could win this week. The Chargers could lose tomorrow against the Eagles. Then next week, the Chargers and Chiefs play each other. Keep in mind, the Chargers are the team the Chiefs are chasing because the Chargers are the 7 seed. The Chiefs could beat the Chargers next week. And even with the Chargers losing tomorrow night and the Chiefs winning tonight and the Chiefs winning next week against the Chargers are still in the playoffs and the Chiefs are still on the outside looking in. It's not until the following week where you would need the Chargers to lose a third time and the Chiefs would need to win, and then it switches. And you're just asking for a lot. And that's the way it stands now. Now add a loss to the Chiefs, and it's like, forget about it. It's over. It's 10-0, and they're in Arrowhead. Okay, this is the best thing the Chiefs have going for them right now is that they're in Arrowhead. All right, and I'm going to be writing this title really quick, and it's going to be 1 second. Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski had some interesting words about the Broncos. Here we go. Mahomes, 1st and 10. Oh, and it throws it incomplete. And I believe that was Thornton. All right, let me do this really quick. All right. Oh, the brightness is bright. We're going to be doing some raids during halftime. I hope you guys are down for that. It's going to be a good time. The Broncos have now won 10 straight games. Winning the division seems to be out of reach for the Chiefs. The Broncos moved to 11 wins. The best the Chiefs could do would be to tie the Broncos, and both teams go 11-6. Now, I'm curious, if the Broncos lose out and the Chiefs win out, would the Chiefs own the tiebreaker? I'm going to find out. Because the Broncos have a very tough stretch. Jacksonville, the Packers, the Chiefs, the Chargers. So, here we go. 3rd and 5. Mahomes looking, stepping up, sack lunch. Nothing there. So it's going to be field goal time. Here we go. Field goal. This is going to be a 20. Wow, he's got a 59-yarder this year. This one's only 43. Oh, he missed it off the upright. We got Crafty in the chat. What's up, Crafty? Wrong. Here we go. All right. We're going down, down, baby. Yo, city's a wazy. Boom, boom, baby. I love this. I love making content. It is awesome. It's awesome. One more second. Bear with me. Make it public. All right. Upload. Awesome. All right. And now we're going to switch account. And we're going to upload a video. Here we go. Title. Boom. 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 Add description. Boom. And boom. Awesome. Got some really good content. Got some really good content out there already. I was able to post Rick's reaction to the Bears losing to the Packers. Created a thumbnail for that and everything. Thud, exactly. Boom. Kind of like the season that the Chiefs are having. It's just one big doink. All right. So I missed the beginning, so I need some context. What happened here? What happened? Why are the Chiefs having 0 points? Did they move the ball and not, convert in the red zone and go for it on fourth? Are they just getting nothing going offensively? What's the story here? Let's go to the first quarter and take a look. Punt on 5 plays. Wow. So 2 5-play drives is all they did in the first quarter. Okay, so a 3-and-out, 10-yard pass on their second drive to Xavier Worthy, a 5-yard pass to Rashee Rice, 1-yard run, and Mahomes short middle lost 10 yards on his pass. And then they punt again, and that's the end of the freaking first quarter. Okay. So I definitely lost my first quarter bets there. Texans drew offensive pass interference. 48 seconds left. 48 seconds left. And what's the message at halftime? I mean, I feel like the message has got to be like, hey, guys, our season's on the line out here. Now let's go out there and let's not do this in front of our fans. You know what I mean? Here we go. Stroud almost sacked, steps up, complete, and it's Nico Collins. And clock is ticking. They have one timeout. They're trying to preserve it. They're moving quick here. They're moving quick right now. And wow, a lot of time coming off. They still, why are you now a false start? That is just, man, that is just exactly what I'm talking about. That is exactly what the hell I'm talking about, man. There is just not, in my opinion, a team I'm afraid of in the AFC. I guess Buffalo would be the one team just because of all the experience that they have and the fact that their worst thing is their run defense is so bad. I mean, teams don't even throw it against them. Their opponents average the fewest amount of pass attempts against Buffalo. No other team has fewer than Buffalo. It's very hard to say that and make it make sense, but I hope I made that clear. And that's because the teams that play Buffalo just run the ball the whole time. We don't have like the strongest run game, so I don't know if we could exploit that as well as. But I wouldn't be afraid of Buffalo either. I'm not afraid. Last year I didn't want to play the Ravens. I didn't want to play Buffalo. I wanted to play the Chiefs. 5-4-3. He's going to get away from pressure and now just throw it into the ground halftime. Wow. Doesn't get more boring than that. That is atrocious. That is why I just can't buy into the Texans fully because their defense is fantastic. But when you're having issues on offense and then you pair those struggles with clock management issues and miscues and penalties, you have a real problem. Not that offensive weakness isn't a real problem, but it's like you are shooting yourself in the foot and then you're pulling the trigger again. It's not just like, oh, we have this one thing. It's like it's sloppy. They don't look like a playoff team. I mean, you decide not to call your timeout, so be it. I'm not against it. You want to keep it in your pocket. So you have one timeout that leaves the whole field open. Because they still needed about 15 yards for a realistic field goal. So how do you, don't use the timeout. You leave the whole field open. But if you're going to do that, like you have to run up and snap the ball immediately. Like they went up to the line, fucking running motion. You got receivers going in motion. Like, what are you doing? You burned 20 seconds. You burned 50% of the remaining time. And if that's the case, call the timeout. Like if your offense isn't able to run up and understand the assignment there, then call the timeout. But CJ Stroud's a veteran. Like there's no excuse at this point to have that type of an operation in the 2-minute drill. And then to make it worse, then you have a false start. And okay, so then you end up not even using that timeout and just going to halftime, not even getting in field goal range. Like that was just, it's so difficult to watch bad operation at I've always been this way. If you're in the 2-minute drill and there's clock management issues, it is so hard to watch. Same thing with false starts at home. Some things are just inexcusable at the professional level. Texans can't stop false starting. We got Jake Mordecai in the chat. What is up? My first look at the new man cave? Hell yeah. Dude, 10 in a row. Wait, no. Hold on. 11 in a row. Well, no, 10 in a row. 11 wins total. Big win today. Guys, I have a theory. All right, Nick, let's hear it. It was only a few weeks ago that the Colts were discussing signing Jones to a long-term deal. I'm going to be honest, like I don't think crafty. I don't think that Daniel Jones's injury should change anything. Now I don't think they should sign him to a 4-year, and trust me, or don't trust me, but you probably agree. Daniel Jones's agent is going to be looking for a multi-$100 million type contract because of what he did before he got hurt. That is going to happen. And if the Colts refuse to do it, then Daniel Jones could walk and somebody else may be willing to do it. The Raiders, the Vikings. I mean, it's funny. The Vikings they had him on their roster last year and they let him walk. Maybe he goes back to the Giants. No, I forgot. Jackson Dart is the future, and he is really good. I'm trying to think who else. There's one team that I'm forgetting that. Oh, Arizona. And if he were to go to Arizona, I think the exact same thing that happened to the Colts this year would happen to Arizona. Remember, by week 9, the Arizona Cardinals, if they had scored only 4 more points in every game, the Cardinals would have been 9-0. We're talking about a team that has like 4 wins this year. They are not far away. And I think when you have a record where you have less than 5 wins, I think it's easy for it to get lost on the casual NFL fan that not every 4-3-2 win team is created equal. You have teams that are very close, but they're just on the wrong side of every close game. Like Dan Campbell's first year with Detroit. Remember, the Lions were 0-5, 0-6. They kept losing these games in these ungodly ways where it's like, oh my God, the Lions are going to get their first win. It's 4th and 21 with 30 seconds left, and Lamar Jackson converts it. Sets up a NFL record-breaking field goal to win by a point, and then Dan Campbell's crying at the podium like, our guys are trying so hard. It breaks your heart to see a team that's so close, but unfortunately, it's not college football. Well, college football is becoming more like the NFL with the parity, but it's not. It's a real thing to get very close and lose every single week. I've seen it, and it's happening with the Cardinals, and they've done all of this with Jacoby Brissett. Kyler Murray hasn't really been available this year, so if Arizona gets their hands on a good quarterback, Arizona could be a playoff team. And if he stays with the Colts are also looking at being a playoff team. The one thing is you never want to pay your quarterback hundreds of millions of dollars until you see how he reacts to pressure in playoffs. We've seen Daniel Jones win a playoff game on the road in Minnesota, so I think that helps him out massively. If I were his agent, I would just be showing the highlights of that game. Like, okay, well, who was this? You know what I mean? That this is his like second year. In his first year with Brian Daboll, and he went into Minnesota and outplayed Kirk Cousins and had the best game of his career in the most pressure situation of his career. He did that. So now people are like, Daniel Jones, like, I don't trust him in big games. I'm not sure why. We've only seen him in one. He looked really good. And There's other quarterbacks like Sam Darnold who people say I don't trust in big games. I get it. He looked bad in the 2 big games he was in. Sam Darnold was never in a big game. He was a Jet. They don't play in big games. And then he was a Panther. They don't play in big games. They might now. I had them winning the division this year, and it's looking like it might happen. But my point is this. Sam Darnold, for the first time in his career, played in a big game week 17 against Detroit. Minnesota and Detroit were both 13-3. And it was crazy. It was like one of these teams is going to be a wild card team with 13 wins. But whoever wins the game is going to be the first seed and get a first round bye. It's like, wow, talk about what's at stake here. So that was a big game, and Sam Darnold looked awful. He looked terrible. And then it was like, okay, well, whatever. Like, he's in the playoffs. And then we saw his first playoff game, and we were all wondering, okay, with what happened in Detroit, is that an isolated event, or is that who Sam Darnold is in big moments? And then he shits the bed and has another terrible game. And that's why Minnesota moved off of him. And now look what he's doing with the Seahawks. But the question is definitely still in the back of your mind, what is this going to look like when the playoffs come around? I don't know. Neither do you. But we shouldn't be like putting Daniel Jones in that category. He hasn't done anything, in my opinion, he hasn't done anything to earn that type of doubt from the NFL fans. Patrick Mahomes, Mitch Trubisky have Freaky Friday'd, and Mitch would ball out if he got a chance this season. You know what? I don't hate that theory. But in order for it to come true, I'm going to need to see Mitch Trubisky for a series. Until then, it's just a theory. Given how late this in the season his injury is, won't it still sideline him heading into next season? Very good question. I don't know the extent of the injury, and even with torn, I mean, everybody's different as far as how their body comes. It was a non-contact injury, which is usually like the worst kind, ironically. And I heard he had a broken fibula going into the game. I'm like, I didn't know you could play with a broken leg. Yeah, Daniel Jones broke his fibula. He wants to play through it. I guess it was an avulsion fracture, which is a small fleck of bone pulled off the lower tip of the fibula. So I guess it feels more like an aggravation than a snapped leg. Obviously, I've broken my fibula and my tibia in the same injury, and you can't play because your leg is completely disconnected from your body. So the fibula is like the smaller bone that's outside of the tibia. And I guess that would be equivalent to like a hairline fracture. I'm not a doctor, but he was trying to play through it. I guess maybe now that he's going to be going under for the Achilles, he's going to probably also have surgery on the fibula if it requires. And here's the thing, like Daniel Jones playing through a fibula, I know about trying to power through an injury. After my injury, I was trying to go on deployment in October. My injury happened in June. They were getting ready to send me to a squadron where all the injured people go because they're non-deployable. And I basically had a month to take convalescent leave, which is what the Navy gives you when it's like, you're no good to us. You just need to worry about healing. So I was away from the Navy for a month. And in my final week, I was gone for 3 weeks. I get a call from my commanding officer, and he's telling me that I'm going to this hurt squadron. And I know it's not like you just go there and a week later, when you're healthy, you come out. This stuff takes years. So it's like it's a one-way ticket out of the Navy. That's the best way I can say it. And I was so mad because I'm like, first off, the flight surgeon recommended this. The flight surgeon's like a glorified nurse. I was like, how about this? If I go see an orthopedic surgeon and he says I'm not safe to go on deployment, so be it. But I don't like you guys just throwing my career down the toilet because some nurse said that it was such a traumatic injury, I should go. Because you don't know. You don't know. You're not an orthopedic surgeon. And my commanding officer was like, "Sure. We'll let you see an orthopedic surgeon." And I went and saw one, and man, I had my dad take off my cast with a tile saw the day before I came back. And he took it off, and I took my first steps the day before. So when I came back from my month of convalescent leave, I showed up with my boots on in my uniform, and everybody was like, "Hitzman? What are you how are you what?" And, I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." And the whole time, I was compensating so hard. I was leaning on my left side. I still do it. It throws your back out of alignment. And playing sports, I've learned this. Whenever you have an injury, I don't care if it's like a really bad one from the past or you're playing through an injury, you're always going to be more inclined to get hurt because you're putting extra strain on the other side. I can't say for sure that Daniel Jones tore his Achilles today because he decided to play through his fibula, but I am saying it's very likely that that is the case. I mean, this guy was just standing there in a non-contact injury and his freaking Achilles snaps. These things are kind of weird, right? Um, I do think it was him trying to power through, and we see this all the time, and that's why it's so imperative that each NFL team has a training staff that really has the player's best interest in mind. Because the player's always going to want to play. That's what players do. Players play, coaches coach, and everyone else watches. But Daniel Jones, man, hell of a year. And, everybody's been kind of like, oh, he was showing his true colors the last couple of weeks. Uh, I mean, he was injured, so I guess. Lamar's injured. He's playing injured this year. How does he look? Why does he get the benefit of the doubt? All that guy does is lose every playoff game. I just I think I can't believe I'm saying this. I think I would be comfortable giving Daniel Jones a 4-year, $200 million contract, $50 million a year. I think that I feel like I could win a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones. I know I can't believe I'm saying it. It's how I feel. Sucks the Bears dropped from first to seventh on the bias of a single game. On the basis of a single game. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Poor Darnold could find himself in the same boat as last year, finishes with one of the best records in the NFC, but oh my gosh, big tackle for a loss by Chris Jones. Poor Darnold. Same boat as last year, maybe. Finishes one of the best records in the NFC, but is forced to settle for a wild card because he shares the division with the eventual NFC number 1 seed. I don't know who's going to win that division, man. I have the Rams going all the way. I don't know if they are going to be the number 1 seed. Seattle's doing things defensively that only Denver is doing. And on the next commercial, I'll tell you, he had a broken fibula for the past couple games. Exactly. I think Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than someone like Trevor Lawrence. So I think he his contract comp. Oh, okay. I think that's his contract comp. You see, Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, that's just not. I mean, I get what you're saying, but anytime you're drafted with the number 1 overall pick, there's going to be like extra money involved, even if it's, undeserving. Stroud, 3rd and 14. Oh my God. He had Xavier Hutchinson. Who, by the way, Jake probably still lives next to his brother. Look at that. Like CJ Stroud, man. Why is he so uncomfortable? What is going on with CJ Stroud? He continues to be a Nico Collins merchant. That's just how I feel. I don't know. How do you guys feel? I feel like he's continuing to be a Nico Collins merchant. Let me check the comments. Oh my God. No way. Nick, I just said that. That is crazy. That is absolutely insane. All right. Let me see something. All right. Here we go. Mahomes going deep. Caught. Hollywood Brown. And there, I mean, the Chiefs were going to come out swinging. They were going to come out swinging. Here we go. Let's see how much money we can get if we take the Chiefs to win. Plus 148. Hold on. Come on. Give me anytime touchdown Rashee Rice on top of it, and give me $10 on it. There we go. Come on. Got it. All right. Chiefs to win, Rashee Rice to score, $10 to win 43. I just assumed you were reading the comments when you said that. Kyle, you're betting against my hate watch. Nick, I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't matter because on Christmas, Denver's going to eliminate Kansas City. And isn't that way better than Kansas City eliminating themselves tonight? Trust me, I'm with you. But I just want to be the one to put that sword through their chest on Christmas. Merry Christmas, motherfuckers. That's just how I feel. Season sweep in your house. Santa came early. Or late, I guess, since it will be Christmas night. I do too, Nick. I just don't think they're getting. I just don't think they're going. Like I said in the beginning, Kansas City could. They would need to win their next 3 games in a row, while also needing the Chargers to lose 3 games in a row just to swap the 7 seed. So, is it impossible? Not at all. But the Chargers are getting Omari and Hampton back, and that's kind of big. What happened? I know Rashawn Slater's done for the year, but what's Joe Alt? Is Joe Alt coming back? Season ending. Okay. Yeah, so both of them are out. Man, it's crazy how much of a difference that team is with Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater. I mean, can we give a we've seen this before. Remember when Trent Williams went down for the 49ers? And all of a sudden, like, the 49ers were bad? I think offensive linemen once in a while should be MVP. Or, like, offensive player of the year. Maybe not MVP, but, like, give them something. Wouldn't the Colts be swapping seeds if they win 2 in a row, since they'd have tiebreakers over the Colts and Texans? Here, let me show you something. I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna answer that question. 3rd and 7. Mahomes dropping back, looking, stepping up into the pocket, running himself, gonna take it. Oh my gosh, he's down to the 2-yard line. He's down to the 2-yard line, which means they can pick up a first down, But likely they're going to score if they pick up the first down. Now they need 3 because they're down 10-0, but it's 4th and 1 on the 2-yard line. So if they pick up the first down, I think you got to go for this. I'm sorry, but if your season's on the line, if you can't get a yard, I don't think they're going to be cute here either. I don't know. Let's see what they do. I mean, if they don't run it here, they're going to hear about this for a long time if they don't get it on some bullshit pass. Yep, there's a run. Touchdown. And I knew I should have did Kareem Hunt instead of Rashee Rice. I was freaking out and I did it too fast. But there's time. Anyway, let me show you something. All right. So your question was, wouldn't the Colts be swapping seeds if they win 2 in a row, since they'd have the tiebreaker? Oh, and by the way, is there a quarterback that comes to mind that sitting at home that maybe, I don't know, wants to be a Colt? What are the rules with Joe Flacco? I mean, Joe Burrow's back. Why does Joe Flacco? That's my question. At 41 years old or whatever, is Joe Flacco allowed to just be like, all right, can I go back home? Do I have to stand on the sideline for the rest of these games? You know what I mean? I know I'm still under contract, but come on. Or is that part of the deal? Because that would kind of suck for Flacco. It's like, I'm getting another chance to play one more year for only 8 weeks, which means the other 8 weeks, I have to, if I choose to do this, the other 8 weeks, I have to be a backup quarterback. Do I really want to do that? I mean, I would think not. But could the Bengals do him a solid and trade him to the Colts? Because he started this year with the Browns. So he could go Browns to the Bengals to the Colts all in 1 year. Would Tom Brady come out of retirement? Would Tom Brady do it? One more. What about Russell Wilson? Oh my gosh. What if Russell Wilson did it? No. Trust me. You don't want that. And nobody wants that, okay? So, let me just think, okay? I'm trying to come up with something good and juicy here, but I want it to be Kirk Cousins. Hello? Kirk Cousins. Why not? Why not? What about Tommy DeVito? What about Tommy DeVito? Maybe? Oh, the trade deadline, right. So they would have to release. But for the free agents, then the trade deadline doesn't matter. So Tommy DeVito, he's available, right? Man. It's like the Giants are hoarding all of the quarterbacks. I'm like, is Tommy DeVito there? Russell Wilson's there. Jameis Winston's there. It's like all of the quarterbacks that you don't want to start unless your starter goes down are on the Giants. Zach Wilson, I know he's with the Dolphins. Carson Wentz was with the Vikings. He looked bad. Kenny Pickett looked really good for a series today. Marcus Mariota's with the Commanders. What about Bailey Zappi? What happened to him? Is Bailey Zappi available? Remember Bailey Zappi? Bailey Zappi had some good film out there for a couple games. Remember, people were like wanting Zappi over Mac Jones, the whole controversial thing, and then Patriot fans were getting mad. They were like turning against each other. And that's how you know you got a good backup, is when your fan base starts fighting amongst themselves. Mac Jones is in San Francisco, but that would have been a great pick. And it helps that you have a coach that is very quarterback friendly as well. Ooh. Xavier Worthy has 32 yards. Marquise Brown has 35 yards. Juju Smith has 5. Isaiah Pacheco has 0 receiving yards. So I just need Noah Gray to get 25 and Travis Kelce to get 30. I thought this would be a big tight end game for the Texans. 2nd and 8. Deflected pass almost gets intercepted. Chris Jones having a good game. He has actually had a really down year. We're so used to him just destroying games all on his own, and it just hasn't been the case this year. And so far, since I've been watching, Chris Jones is like making a play every time he's on the field. 3rd and 8. And then I know, I just thought we were talking about a good backup QB. Oh, no, Mac Jones is a good backup QB, though, Nash. Incomplete. No penalty. Back-to-back 3-and-outs. And the Texans offense looks like the Texans offense, which is a shame for their defense, right? This is Super Bowl caliber defense. The Texans are one of 2 teams in the AFC, top 10 against the run, top 10 against the pass, and top 10 in total yards allowed. And Denver and Houston are the 2 teams. The difference is between Denver and Houston. Denver's the only team that's top 15 in offense of rushing and passing. And the Texans aren't top 15 in either. It's amazing, like, what this team could be. Look at Xavier Worthy. He's running around like Reggie Bush at USC. I mean, the Texans, what they could have accomplished this year with a mediocre offense. Oh, yeah, that's a block in the back by number 34. And it occurred on the 4-yard line or the 5-yard line. So that's half the distance of the goal. So we're talking about the 2.5-yard line where the ball's going to go. Illegal block in the back. Okay, so here we go. Actually, how does the tiebreaker go? Because KC, Indy, and the Chargers get to 8 wins, and Indy has the tiebreaker over LA, and Kansas City has over. Why 8 wins? What's significant about 8? What about 8? Like, okay, let's do that. Okay, so we just gave the Chiefs their 8th win. Okay, and I'll start by showing you this. Okay, if the Texans win, then Houston would move to 8-5, and then you would have the Chiefs would go to 6-7. Okay, but if the Chiefs win, and let's say tomorrow the Eagles win, okay, you still have the Chargers as the 7th seed. Okay, next week, week 15. You know what? Chiefs and Chargers play each other, which is great for the Chiefs because that's the team they're chasing down. Chiefs win. Guess what? The Chiefs are still not where they're 8-6. They have the same record as the Chargers, but they would still be on the outside looking in. And that's with the Chargers losing to the Eagles tomorrow night, which may not even happen. But we're just looking at scenarios here. Then let's go to week 16, okay? The Cowboys and the Chargers, all right? Let's say that the Cowboys win, okay? And then the Chiefs over the Titans, that's definitely happening, okay? Then you get Kansas City creeping into the number 7 seed, okay? Now let's go back and take a look at, so this week already happened, but let's look at the Colts next week. All right, the Colts are playing Seattle. Okay, I think Seattle's going to win. Okay, now let's go to week 16. The Colts are playing the 49ers. Oh, gosh, that's on Monday Night Football. I don't know who their quarterback is. So, I mean, San Francisco. And let's just not go to week 17 yet because things get a little bit hairy when we do that. Okay, so we did the Colts next 2 weeks. We did the Chiefs next 2 weeks. We did the Chargers next 2 weeks. Who is the other team that you're curious about? All right, because that's pretty much the race. Now let's do the Jags while we're at it. Okay, so Jags won today. Let's say they beat the Jets next week. Okay, let's say they lose to the Broncos. The game's in Denver. Denver hasn't lost a home game since 2024. It should be a good game, but I think Denver wins. And then that would put the Jags still at the number 3 seed with a 10-5 record. And also, Indianapolis would be 8-7. Instead of 10-5, they would have a 2-game lead. Now let's do Houston. All right, so we're saying that Houston is going to lose today for the prediction, right? Then next week we have Houston playing the Cardinals. All right, at home we're going to give it to Houston, and then week 16 we have Houston playing the Raiders. Let's give it to Houston. Okay, so for the next 2 weeks. We're done. This takes us to week 17, okay? And it's Denver with the 1. Let's go ahead and give the Patriots some love in this. Buffalo at Patriots, I don't see them sweeping. Not after the win Buffalo had today. Buffalo's going to win next week. Week 16, Patriots and Ravens. Oh. Man, the Ravens suck. I'm going to go with the Patriots. And it's hard to say because Baltimore is at home and their season's on the line. But you got New England coming off a loss. Or do they lose 2 in a row? That's very much a toss-up. That's probably the hardest game I've had to predict this whole little segment I'm doing here. So, let's just leave it alone for right now. Okay. Well, fuck it. Let's just say the Patriots win. All right. So you would have Denver with the 1, and then the Texans 7 seed. The Chiefs would move to the 6 seed, actually. The Chiefs would move to the number 6 seed because the Houston Texans, who would be the 7 seed. Who do the Texans lose to? Because they have the head-to-head. Because that's why this game is so important. Is because if the Chargers lose to the Eagles and the Chiefs, and the Chiefs win, this game, and then they win against the Chargers, then they will be 9-6. And if the Texans win at home against the Cardinals, and then week 16 win at home against the Raiders, which I think they will, you think they will, then they're both going to be 9-6, and whoever wins this game is going to have the head-to-head tiebreaker, and it would move them up a seed. This game is massive right now. Not to mention that if the Chiefs don't win this game, they're donezo. Maybe not mathematically, but might as well be. The only reason Kansas City, who benefited the most from the injury to Daniel Jones, which is a shitty thing to say, but the Chiefs did because these games where we have the Colts losing to Seattle and 49ers, how could we not do that when they don't have a quarterback? But if Daniel Jones was playing, I wouldn't have them losing both of those games. Maybe one of them. But look, if the Colts won one of them and lost the other, it still wouldn't matter. The Colts would still be on the outside with 9-6 record. Houston 9-6, and then the two teams that are in with a 9-6 record is only the Texans and the Chiefs. But keep in mind, Denver's playing the Chiefs on Christmas, and they might be able to help out Kansas or help out the Colts, because look, the Broncos on Christmas Day, let's say they beat Kansas City and the Colts take care of business and get back up on that pedestal and beat the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. Lucas Oil going crazy. Pat McAfee in the box. This is a playoff type atmosphere because everybody knows with the Broncos beating the Chiefs on Christmas Day, they've known for 3 days that whoever wins the game between the Colts and the Jags, the results in playoffs. Colts will know. When is Christmas? On a Thursday? When is Christmas? What day of the week is Christmas? It's on a Thursday. Okay. So for 3 days, Colts fans will know. Keep in mind, this is with the Colts losing their next 2 games. If the Broncos beat the Chiefs on Christmas, assuming that the Chiefs win their next 2 games against the Chargers and the Texans tonight, and the Broncos beat the Chiefs, the Colts will know for 3 days that if we handle our business against the Jaguars, we are back in the playoffs, but not as the 7 seed, but we move all the way to the number 6 seed. We eliminate the Chiefs, or I guess we eliminated the Chiefs, because the Chiefs would be 9-7 and the Colts would be 10-6. And all I can say is the Colts are going to be the biggest Denver Bronco fans on Christmas Day, because week 18, and let's just, this game right here, if you guys remember 6 weeks ago, I told you this game is going to be massive. I'm circling the Chargers and the Texans. I believe it was after week 8. It was week 8, Sunday Night Football. When we got done, I pulled out the schedule and I started looking at the playoffs, and I said this game is going to be massive. I have not changed my mind on that. Okay. Now, I don't know who's going to win this game. It's actually very difficult for me to try to come up with an answer by looking at it. But the fact of the matter is the Chargers, because in this simulation, we have them losing to the Eagles and then losing to the Chiefs. And then week 16, we had the Chargers losing to the Cowboys. That was the only way. But I think it's unlikely that they lose 3 in a row. We were just trying to see what would need to happen for Kansas City to get into the playoffs. But putting that aside, let's say the Chargers beat the Cowboys. I don't know which one they're going to win. I don't think they lose all 3 in a row. So let's pick that one. All right. Chargers win. Now the Chargers are the 7 seed. The Colts are still the 6 seed. Jacksonville 3, Patriots 2, Buffalo 5, and I'm not even going to deal with the AFC North right now. But that takes us all the way to week 18. Where the Chiefs over the Raiders, yeah. And then the Chargers and Broncos. Once again, same thing with the Colts and same thing with the Patriots. The Chargers beat us week 3. I don't think they're going to sweep us at home. We're wearing our throwbacks for this game. I'm not doing that. And the Colts are going to split with the Jags, and the Patriots are going to split with Buffalo. And that leaves the Colts and the Texans, which is let's just see what happens both ways. If the Colts win, the Colts would move to the 3 seed, even if Jacksonville wins against Tennessee, as long as they win week 17. So, I mean, think about that. The Colts lost today. They can lose to Seattle. They can lose to the 49ers on Monday Night Football. And as long as they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars on the Sunday after Christmas and beat the Texans week 18, Jacksonville can win all of their games besides but once again, you guys need Denver to beat Jacksonville when we play them in 2 weeks. Week 16. Week 16, the Broncos and Jaguars play. So, look, between the Broncos and Chiefs game, the Broncos and Jaguars game, like Colts fans should be rooting for the Broncos pretty much from here on out. Everything Denver does affects the Colts. Because if it does come down to the 7 seed, let's say the Chargers beat the Broncos week 18, then they take the 7 seed. And the Colts would still be the 3 seed. And that was with Jacksonville winning all of their games besides the Broncos game. We put Jacksonville. We had Jacksonville winning. Oh, no. So Jacksonville would lose to the Colts and Broncos in back-to-back weeks. And then they would win week 18, but it wouldn't matter because of those 2 losses. Yeah, they'll beat the Jets. The Jags will beat the Jets, and they'll beat the Titans, but they're going to lose to the Broncos and Colts. And that's going to put the Colts back at the number 3 seed. Jacksonville goes to 6. And Kansas City's out. Kansas City's not in. Now let's do this. Kansas City wins against Denver on Christmas. And say the Patriots, they play the Ravens. Then they play, who do the Patriots play here? The Jets and Patriots. The Patriots schedule, they have 2 difficult games in their back-to-back weeks. And if I'm trying to look, where the hell are they? Where's New England? Oh, here they are. The Dolphins. The Dolphins are actually playing for something. Maybe they think they are, but I'm going to go Patriots. So what? How did I not? Oh, I missed 2 Bronco games. Broncos. If they win that one, and then the Broncos aren't losing both those games. So they could both end up 14-2. The only one I didn't predict was the Ravens one, because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen between that game. But if the Patriots keep getting lost to me. Oh, that's the Buffalo game. This is the Ravens game, week 16. If the Ravens win that one, then why did it say 13-4 and 14-2? Which Broncos game did I not select? It's like I'm short a Oh, here it is, the Packers. Green Bay at Denver. 15-2. Let's say they lose to the Packers and go to 14-3. And the Patriots win. Okay, I had them losing to the. Let's say they beat the Ravens. Let's give it to them. So the Denver. Okay, we would still be the 1 seed. The Patriots would be 2, 7. Yeah, I mean, look. Any way I look at it, I see that the Colts probably do get in, which is. I mean, the only way the Colts don't get in is if they can't split the series, because I think Denver's going to end up helping out the Colts. I think the Broncos are going to be the reason the Colts get in, which is great news, because if Denver can somehow get the Colts in, I don't know if there's a scenario where the Colts get in as a 6 seed. It's almost like they have to get in as a 3 or nothing, because they have to beat Jacksonville but then they would have the head-to-head over them, and they would move to the 3. And then chances are whoever they played in the first round. I mean, and then the Steelers, like I didn't even get into that, but man, it's like the more time you spend in that simulation of what could happen, the more difficult it really does become. And I found that the best thing to do, Patrick Mahomes taking off. The best thing to do when it comes to that simulation is go into it with one idea. Like, what happens if the Chargers lose their next 3 and the Chiefs win their next 3? And then look at that and then just like, okay, that's all I wanted to know. Because there's no way to like follow all of these, every little button you click is affecting another thing, which is affecting another thing. And then it's hard to keep track. Is this about the record, or is this about which opponent we beat? And it gets as I say that, the playoff picture comes up on Sunday Night Football. It gets impossible to follow, but it's great for just trying to check on a scenario real quick, or just doing like 2 weeks at a time is how I like to do it. I like to just go by the next 2 weeks because I can follow that easy. Here's Mahomes rolling out, trying to get to the red zone, faking the throw, and he's going to pick up about 5 yards. Mahomes looks like he wants a penalty. Jin just saying the Colts are done. Man, I don't think so. I'd love to be the only AFC West team in the postseason. Not gonna lie, same here. In this simulation of a world, we start like 7-1, trade first round picks. Sauce gets hurt. Jones breaks his leg, haven't won. Buckner gets hurt, haven't won. We're done. Damn, Ginger's going through it right now. Chiefs are driving. They are. Are the Panthers leading their division? The Panthers are. Well, let me put it this way. With the Tampa Bay loss, they're still winning their division, but the Panthers control their own destiny because the Panthers have a 7-6 record, which is exactly the same. And next week, the Panthers. Look, the Panthers. It's like the stretch for Tampa Bay. Like week 18, Tampa Bay and Carolina will play each other, and that same week that I said that Chargers-Texans game will be massive, I said that Tampa Bay and Carolina will be playing for their division week 18. I need to go back and clip these because I do think a lot of this stuff is relevant. And some of this stuff is very easy to see. You know what I mean? It's like Baker's struggling right now. The whole team, he's hurt. So, but the Panthers were getting hot, and it was kind of like both teams are going in different directions. But I expect that Tampa Bay is going to level out and start playing good football again. Then probably have one more bad loss for no reason, another good win, and then it'll be like, all right, we feel kind of good about both of these teams, and then next thing you know, it's week 18. And that's not like the story of Tampa Bay this year. That's the story of the NFC South for the last 4 years. That's just the way it goes. That's why I like Tampa Bay winning their division 4 years in a row or something like that. It's like that's awesome, but they don't tell you what your record was that you won that division with, because it's not like Tampa Bay's been winning that division by, having double-digit wins every year. Look at this is the thing. Look how the Texans, look how panicked CJ Stroud plays when you apply pressure. I mean, if you're a team that's really good at getting after the quarterback, you love your chances against the Texans. 10-10 ball game. Texans haven't been able to move the ball. Here's 1st and 10. Fakes the handoff. Stroud pressure. That's intentional grounding. How does he not know that? Are they going to say Woody Marks was the intended receiver? I guess he was there. Look, he just like spikes it into the dirt. This is starting to remind me of the Seahawks Texans game. Handoff. He's going to try to bounce it outside. Nope. 3rd and 10. Is that a bottle of vodka? It looks like Chris Jones had a bottle of Sky. Third and 10. Blitz. And he just threw it into the middle of the field. Nobody there. Is that intentional grounding? There's nobody around. So why wasn't it intentional grounding? It's over. The Chiefs, they can smell blood. That was a bad fair catch by Xavier Worthy. And now the Chiefs are going to take the lead here. Jinja said, division winners. I said Pittsburgh was going to win that division, and Carolina was with you. I believe. Yeah. No, I remember because we had a whole thing where Rick was like, this is like the opposite, because our first year on the podcast, Rick had the Steelers winning the division, and I was like, are you high? And this year, I took the Steelers to win the division, and Rick, he just like laughed. Oh my God. Rashee Rice just got blown up. What's crazy is like there were Chiefs players that wanted to fight him. This is what the Texans do, man. Their defense gives them a chance, but Chiefs minus 2.5. Oh, I have a profit boost available. I think Mahomes is going to run one in. Let's go with the Mahomes anytime touchdown at plus 1,500. Has Mahomes not been running around all day? Why does it suspend while we're at a commercial break? This is when it should be open. Come on. Why is this suspended? Here we go. Patrick Mahomes to score an anytime touchdown is at plus 1,400. And let's see. Passing yards, rushing yards. Mahomes has 50. I'm going to give him 60, 10 more. I'm going to say this guy's desperate. This guy's absolutely desperate. $5. $5 to win 100. There we go. There it is. I feel good about this. This is one of those where I'm like, this is going to hit. This is going to hit. Image file. 947. Open. Here it is. Oh, wait. Hold on. You're joking. I did not leave out. Oh, my gosh. I'm such a dork. $9.47. There it is. Okay. Kansas City minus 2.5. Patrick Mahomes, anytime touchdown. Patrick Mahomes, 60 yards rushing, 10 more yards. $5 pays out 100. I put 2 on a Houston defensive touchdown. Whoa. Got the anytime touchdown. I like it. I like it. I had Kansas City on the anytime touchdown. And that's none of those are going to go through, unfortunately. Let's see. Yeah. Unless Noah Gray starts getting some yards. I thought Tyquan Thornton would be more involved. Every time he comes into the game, the guy makes a miraculous play, and all of a sudden he's gone again. It's like, there it is. Here we go. They're going to run it. And wow, the Texans are starting to move the football down after the completion. I'm going to say they get a field goal, though. Let's see. I like when you can bet on the Houston Texans 10th drive. Sometimes you can bet on their 10th drive result. Nico Collins will record more receiving yards than Mahomes has passing yards. Stroud's out. He's not coming back. No, he's up. He's up. Stroud, man. Chiefs 10th drive. Mahomes is in it. Here's my big prediction. Mahomes he's in a rhythm where it doesn't matter how good you are, he's gonna answer the points here. So I'm gonna go the Chiefs 10th drive, which is their next drive. Rashee Rice catches a pass. Xavier Worthy catches a pass. Marquise Brown catches a pass. $1 to win $23. Which is, if they go on a long drive, those three guys are catching a pass. That's crazy. That was a crazy. Look at that conversion. It's by inches. Stroud. Oh my gosh. It looks like the Chiefs are blitzing on every single play. Then they got that pick immediately after I say that. Oh my God. I didn't realize they got to hurry. There's only 12 minutes. Oh, I didn't. I was saying you should. Oh, okay. You didn't. Okay, gotcha. For the Houston Texans, I bet the odds are crazy right now too. Let's see, touchdowns. Anytime. Houston defense. They locked it. Third and 2. A little bit of motion. Handoff. Can't get the corner. Oh, what a hit. Jalen Watson just took him out. And it's going to be a first down. There's a flag in the secondary. Is Mahomes a bad QB? I don't know if I'd go that far, but I like your energy. Texans are they're like the best defense. Stroud hurt again. Well, he keeps getting his ass kicked. Don't bet this drive. No, I didn't. There's just nothing I feel good about with the Texans. Oh, yeah, Chiefs. That last play was a quick throw, and they got a really easy 7. That's how you beat the blitz. Well, then they're starting to get the ball out quick, finally. KC won't stop blitzing until Stroud makes them stop. Exactly. Show Bo that tape. Fundamental tackling. Yeah. Oh, he will. 4th and 1. Watch the fake here. I'm feeling... Nope. When you have a good defense and it's a tie game in the 4th quarter, you don't run a fake punt from your own 35. All right. Woo! This is going to come down to the wire. Playoffs on the line. I got to pee. This looks like a 500-team matchup, which is exactly what it is. You know what's funny is there was a game that I was looking at the other day. What was it? I think it was Thursday Night Football. me see. Week 13. Packers, Lions. Week 14. Cowboys, Lions. Who was it? Was it week 13? Week 14? Let me see. Saints, Dolphins. Last night I was watching the Saints Dolphins highlights from last week. Don't ask me why. I was watching that. It was like 3 a.m, right? And I couldn't sleep. So I'm watching the highlights of the Saints and the Dolphins. And I'm watching it and I'm like, this feels exactly like a preseason game. Like exactly the way it feels in preseason. And I get what you're saying about this game. How it's like it feels like you have two teams that are 500 competing and they can't get it. Oh, thank you. Oh, wow, that looks amazing. Thank you. Love you. Love you. All right, let me set this here. Oop. Oh crap! I still got a D for the P. Hold on. Oh, Mary. Ah, I hurt my leg. All right. Oh yeah. Mashed potatoes, some steak. 3rd and 10? What? The drive's over? Damn. I was hoping they were going to go on a drive. You need them to convert. Go, Mahomes. One yard short. They're staying on the field. Fourth and 1. Incomplete. Man, 77. He's like, he's not even. Was there contact? I hear the crowd booing. I'm pretty sure Andy Reid was like, there's 10 minutes left in the game. If there was 5 minutes left in the game, he would have punted the ball. Running the ball. Oh, damn. Oh, I used the wrong hot sauce. Oh, my God. I love hot things. So when I say this hot, it's hot. I fucked up. I bought these like little bottles of hot sauce, and one of them tastes like Big Red, which I don't think's hot. So I like doused it, and I doused the habanero one. I can tell. Stroud 38 avoids one sack throwing. Wow, it's caught. First down. Woo, man! I poured it all over all my food. Nothing we can do now. Damn. That play right there was an amazing play by CJ Stroud. I don't know if this will make sense or not, but that play is exactly why I don't think the Texans are a real threat. Because look at the miracle that is required for a third down conversion. You know what's funny? Is Chris Collinsworth talking about how don't you just love it when there's that game that's like baseball, playoff baseball, it's 1-0. And at the end of the game, there's that one big hit. That's what this one's like. It's like, who's going to be that big hit? And it's so funny because whenever our team is in this type of a game, everyone calls it boring and they get mad. When the Chiefs do it, it's an old fashioned, blast from the past. Nick Chubb's out with a rib. When did that happen? Because they let me bet on it. First and goal. Handoff. Touchdown. Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we have a defense. Houston, we have an offense? Question mark? Everybody's going to question the call to go for it. I don't know. I think hindsight's 2020. It's like the same fans that are going to question that are the same fans that would have booed if Mahomes and the offense ran off the field. This game has overtime written all over it, Nick. The pity field goal. I know. I was saying I've never seen that before. That was a game-losing field goal as time expired. Snoop Dogg's on The Voice. I wonder if he just has like a weed pen on him. You say Billy Bob Thornton? The Kareem Hunt. What do you call it? It's like every movie has this. It's like a character, something bad happens, and he comes back and overcomes it. It's a Disney movie. Starts with an R, not revenge. What is it called? Redemption. Seeing Kareem Hunt take Isaiah Pacheco's job? Third and 4. Mahomes looking, throwing. No, they have to punt it. No, now's when you shouldn't go for it. You guys are doing this backwards. This is when you shouldn't go for it, because then they could kick a field goal and make it a 2-possession game. They haven't proven that they can drive all the way down the field, and there's enough time to punt the ball and get the ball back. Go on a game-winning touchdown drive with 2 minutes left. Like, why would you make it a 2-possession game? Ginger agrees with me. Good. I'm glad. Because I'm like, what? Fourth and 4. Mahomes. He dropped it. How? Why would they not punt the ball there? Nick, for real. What the hell? I'm going to bring my plate down. One sec. Something is wrong with my leg. I can't walk. Well, their best bet is to get a sack. They've been able to do it all day. Get him. Did the Texans train their water boys to run out on the field when the play clock's dying down? So that way, if there's a question as to whether they got the timeout off in time or not, it's like, well, of course they did. The water guys were running out on the field. I think I know. I never thought of that before, but I think I'm understanding the Texans' trick there. Like, and I don't think they're doing it just for that. Like, I think even times where they get the timeout off, they still want him to run out. You know, that's just the way they train their water team, no matter what. But I think they trained him that way for that reason, that if there's ever a doubt whether they got a timeout off, the fact that they run out onto the field makes it seem like they did. Oh, is that? I didn't know Matt LaFleur did that. Steak in my tooth. Bounces it outside. This place is actually pretty quiet. Under the circumstances, you would expect this place to be going crazy, and it's not. And I know from experience that's what happens when fans are nervous. It's hard to get real loud when you're nervous that your season's over, or when you're mad or sad or whatever else. But when it gets the real loudest is when you're happy and the moment's big. That combination makes a stadium rock. That's why it's typically the loudest in the playoffs right when the quarterback runs out of the field for the first time, because nothing bad has happened. It's all optimism, and it's the biggest moment, right? Because everyone's excited that we have an opportunity to do something, today. But whenever these big moments come around and it's not really that loud, it's like these fans just are emotionally, they're just exhausted at this point. 3rd and 12, Stroud going deep. Oh my gosh. Yeah, is that Kirk? Christian Kirk was wide open. That would have been a walk-in touchdown. This game is starting to give me Buffalo Bills vibes from 2022, where there wasn't a ton of scoring, but then there was 5 touchdowns like in the final 2 minutes. Oh my gosh. And they're punting. That's crazy that they're punting. They don't have a kicker that can make a field goal from right there. 40, 57. It's like a 60-yard field goal. Oh, it bounced and rolled the other way. They come onto the field. They can't come onto the field until it's called by the official. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. LaFleur bluffed the refs into thinking he had called a timeout on Thanksgiving. Called a timely timeout. How did he bluff him? What did he do? Talk to text, right? Son of a bitch. This game is giving me Jets, Broncos, and London vibe. Yeah. Well, I think it's better than that just because the stakes are higher and it's on prime time. But yeah, I think if you put this game in London at 9 a.m., very similar. Very similar. Like on a week 5. But it's already been more exciting, in my opinion, than that. Kelsey dropped it. Why is everyone such a bum? Did you guys see that already? Are you guys ahead of me? Crafty, can you answer, or Nick, can you answer the question? Did you write that comment after Travis Kelsey dropped the ball or before? I'm just wondering how behind I am because during the Packers-Bears game, I was an entire play behind Rick the whole day. Mahomes dropping back, looking, firing. Oh my God, Kelsey. Oh my God, interception. And Travis Kelsey just flushed the Chiefs season down the fucking toilet. Everything that Travis Kelsey's done for Kansas City, and this is the way it ends. Pack your bags. You and Taylor are going on tour. Look at this play. One play after Travis Kelsey drops the ball on first down, Patrick Mahomes says, "That's my guy, and I will not refuse to throw in the ball because of a drop. I know him. I'm going right back to him." And Travis Kelsey, it's not an easy catch. Let's not pretend it was. He puts his hands up. He's got 3 Texans all around him. He gets hit in the fucking gut. The ball comes out, and because of the amount of Texans around him, it gets intercepted. Should it have been caught? Yeah, absolutely. But based on what I just saw with the Texans electing to punt the ball, the Texans are going to run the football 3 times in a row. And they will because they know that if they take a sack, they don't want to forfeit field goal range. They don't want to do that. So the Chiefs will get the ball back. The question is, will the field goal be good or will it be missed? And I know the crowd is not into this game, but if they only knew that they might be the difference between an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl in a playoff berth and staying at home, maybe they would get a little loud because they might be the last hope for Kansas City when Houston lines up for a 44-yard field goal to make it a 2-possession game. 2nd and 8, handoff, gain of 2, gain of 3. You really don't want to be giving up these yards either. Kansas City takes its final timeout. This is another thing. Why do you only have 2 timeouts? Why did you call the what was it? I remember their last timeout being at the end of the first half. I can't remember. No, I think that was the Packers-Bears game. Yeah, the Packers called the timeout when the Bears lined up on 4th down. But how are they this ass? Travis needs to start learning New York Jets playbook. Kyle, this team isn't a Super Bowl contender. I know that, but I'm talking about them, the way they think of themselves, not the way I think of them. The way the fans and the Chiefs think of them, right? They just lost the game. Look, everybody in the building knew they were going to run it 3 times in a row. This is the same offensive line that can't keep CJ Stroud on his feet for 3 plays. Now they're able to run the football with the game on the line and pick up 10 yards. How is that? That that is this is what happened in the Dallas game. Kansas City's offense was doing a lot more in that game, but Kansas City's defense couldn't close that game. Dallas, the Chiefs had a go-ahead touchdown with, what was it, like 5 minutes left? And Mahomes gets the go-ahead touchdown, and the Dallas Cowboys go on a huge drive and eat up all the time. This is what the Broncos did to Kansas City as well. And it's what they did to Kansas City last year, but the field goal got blocked. 16%. I'm waiting to see Mahomes 9 at it. What's Mahomes 9 at it? Yeah, that's what's so weird about it. Chris Jones was tearing it up, but you know what? I think this is a lot. I think this says a lot about the Texans defense, because how many times has Kansas City gone out on the field and had a 3-and-out, I mean, they didn't have a first down in the whole first quarter. The defense is getting tired, man. And there's no more obvious sign of a winded defense than getting the ball ran on you in an obvious running situation with the game on the line. That is obviously, that is just fatigue. And that's on Kansas City's offense. And you got to give credit to the defense for Houston. Let me see you do it. Snap your fingers and move your step. You can do it all by yourself. Let me see you do it. Hey, let me see you do it. Hey, we're going to the Super Bowl. We can do it. I'm just happy to see like the teams that are the scariest in the playoffs get eliminated. I was worried about not that I'm happy about the injury. I'm really not. And if I could push a button and Daniel Jones would be good to go, and shit, I would even put the Colts in the playoffs if I could push a button and do it, because I want to see that game again, because that game was awesome. As a person that was at the Broncos Colts game, that was not as good as the Broncos Bengals game, because that one had a Hail Mary like complete to send it to overtime. I don't know if I'll ever go to a game in person that is that exciting, but that's about as exciting without it being, Hail Mary type of thing. That's about as exciting as it could be. 4 touchdown passes. That game was awesome. Absolutely incredible. 1-point win, 28-29. I would love to see that matchup again. But the Colts were definitely a team I was more worried about than, say, the Texans or the Ravens or the Steelers, or it's like Buffalo, the Colts, and I don't even know, man. Like, it's getting to this point where I'm like, whatever team people are like, because people can keep saying like Denver's not legit, and I've actually turned away from defending my team to just asking them, well, who do you believe in? It's kind of gotten to that point where it's like, I don't have to defend my team anymore. I just need you to tell me which team you believe in, because you will end up contradicting yourself. Because really, with Kansas City getting eliminated, like, it's kind of like the final straw as far as teams that could, like, I don't know, like if the Bengals win out and get in the playoffs somehow, like I wouldn't want to play them. I don't know. I'm trying not to jinx it. I've been saying it all year, but I'm really like, I'm telling you guys, I think this is Denver's year. Russell Wilson did it in year 2. I think Bo Nix and the Broncos. And I don't even care if they win it. Of course I care. What a dumb thing to say. I just want to go do it. I just want that 2 weeks between the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl my team to be the one they're talking about because it's fun. That's what's cool. Like, even if you lose the Super Bowl, it's not like you didn't have fun as a fan. Now, you're not going to realize that immediately after a Super Bowl loss. You're going to be miserable. But when the dust settles, you will look back on it and go, that was kind of cool, being the center of attention, especially when it's a team that the media refuses to hand flowers to. It's like, motherfucker, we're going to force you to talk about us, and you're going to like it. You know what I mean? But the Texans, if they can get their offense going, they would be probably the one team I wouldn't want to play. In the AFC, I'm starting to think the Texans are, because it's just their defense, man. Like, I'm sorry, but if your defense is as good as Houston's is, the Texans can beat anybody based on the fact that they can keep the score so low that even if you have a bad offense, it's like, well, field goal is good. It's like, even if you have a bad offense, who cares? You're not asking your offense to do much. Hey, can you go score 11 points? That would have won today. 11. A playoff game will probably be 16 would be the magic number. Whoever plays Houston, the whole thing is like, hey, go score 16 points and we will win the game. And I'm starting to hope. I need to pull the simulator back up, because if Denver did get the number 1 seed, then we would play the lowest remaining seed that is available in the divisional round. But honestly, I think the Patriots might get the 1 seed, as much as I hate to say it, unless they lose to Buffalo. We need them to lose to Buffalo and the Ravens. That's what we need to happen. Where's the edit of bad QB jerseys on JJ McCarthy? Where they edit the bad QB jersey on J. Jones doesn't have the stamina he used to. They're using him much more selectively. Yeah, and that's why they couldn't get off the field. Wait, so Vikings Cowboys Sunday Night Football suddenly interesting? Vikings. What is going on in the NFC that game is exciting now? Tyquan Thornton. All right, so Mahomes has to come out here and watch some dude bang his wife, basically. You've got to go out there in front of everybody in the whole world and pretend that you're going to try to win this game when it's next to statistically impossible based on time restrictions. I got to say, I thought it'd feel a lot better seeing the downfall of Kansas City. But I think I realized that it was never about Kansas City for me. It was about my team being disrespected and less about Kansas City. Because whenever you're in the same division as a team that I think everybody, no matter what team you like, can agree that the Chiefs have been the NFL darlings for the last, 3 years. And then it amped up with the Taylor Swift thing. It's like whenever you're dealing with that, it's kind of like no matter what you do, you're the redhead stepchild. Because it's like, yeah, that's great. Did you see the Chiefs, though? They won. It's like, and then when they blocked that field goal from us, the reason that was like the worst loss in the last 10 years for me was because I felt like, what are they going to say now after Knicks drove down the field with 5 minutes left on the game and ate up all their timeouts, converted 4 third downs, set us up with a 35-yard game-winning field goal, and they blocked it. And I'm like, they don't have to say anything now. They can continue what they were doing. 6, 5, 4. There's no point. The game's over. What are you going to do? Score 10 points? That's it. Chiefs lost. Chiefs have lost the game. They moved to 6-7. This is something that nobody could have predicted, I guess, is what they would say. That's what they will say on TV. But if you guys have been here on this channel, you heard it predicted. KC hasn't drafted well enough. Their stars are aging, and they don't have a second wave of stars to continue the dynasty. Yes, very true. The Chiefs have not drafted well enough, and that is why teams like New England and the Broncos and these young up-and-coming, the Colts. Look at the Colts. Why do you think the Colts are doing so well? Look at all of the playmakers, the draft picks that they've hit on. Now, it's kind of hard to hit on a bunch of draft picks. Like, most of the guys I'm talking about, the Chiefs would never have had an opportunity to draft because the Chiefs are drafting like 31st or 32nd every year pretty much for the past 4 years. But that's no excuse. Like, you can still get amazing players at the end of the first round. The Chiefs just haven't been able to really do it. I mean, like, just on our team alone, Nick Benito, Jonathan Cooper, Bo Nix, RJ Harvey, Cortland Sutton, Pat Bryant, Marvin Mims, Devon Vele, who we drafted in the 7th round. We just traded him to the Saints for a 3rd right before the season started. Troy Franklin, our center, our guard, Quinn Meyernes. Like, I just named 11 players that we've drafted in the last, besides Cortland Sutton, we've drafted these guys in the last 3 years. That's our starting offense. The only guys that are starting on offense that we didn't draft in the last 3 to 4 years is Cortland Sutton, who we drafted, but 9 years ago. And then Evan Ingram came in by trade. And then our offensive line, Ben Powers, Mike McGlinchey, Ravens, 49ers. But Garrett Bowles we drafted in the 1st round in 2017. And no, I'm sorry, 2019. 2018, somewhere around there. So, I mean, that's just such a different philosophy than teams that can't hit. I mean, I don't know what this team would look like if Sean didn't knock these drafts out of the park, because I said this with the Cardinals, they're going to have to move off Kyler Murray because they are so close to being good and the quarterback position is holding them back. When you lose all of your games by 4 points, until this last week and then 2 weeks ago, until then, the Cardinals have been losing every game by 3-4 points. I mean, their one loss to the Titans, that was the Titans' only win. The amount of voodoo magic that had to happen for the Cardinals to lose that game is astronomical. If you don't remember, the Cardinals, Cam Ward threw an interception, like a game-sealing interception. And then the Cardinals guy that intercepted the ball gets tackled and fumbles it, and it got recovered in the end zone for a Titans touchdown. Like, that's the kind of weird shit I'm talking about. That's like the way the Cardinals have been losing. And I'm saying, who cares about the $55 million of dead cap money that you will have to eat for getting rid of Kyler Murray? If you're hitting on your draft picks, which the Cardinals are doing that, which is all that matters, how well are you drafting? The Cardinals never fire a head coach who's drafting well. Never. Because if you continue to hit on these drafts, it's only a matter of time before your team's just too talented and you start to win games. And I feel like the Cardinals are there. In the $55 million, forget about it. Get rid of it. Draft a quarterback. Get a couple more playmakers in the Cardinals. Boom. They're a legitimate contender. like overnight. Like what happened to the Colts? What happened to the Cardinals? And the Mahomes regression thing, Nick, I think it's real. I think it's very real. I don't know why it's happening so early. Typically, you wouldn't see a player of his caliber regressing at this stage of his life. It's kind of weird, very strange. Going with the Freaky Friday. How ironic would it be that the Chiefs dynasty replaced the Pats dynasty, only to be replaced by the Pats dynasty? That is actually really cool. Can I copy that? I'm copying that. That is way too good. I lost my phone. Hey, Siri. Where's my phone? Siri. Left it in the bathroom. Sorry, that was just too good. How ironic would it be that the Chiefs dynasty replaced the Pats dynasty, comma, only to then be replaced by a new Pats dynasty, question mark. I'm going to add in, how ironic would it be that the Chiefs dynasty, which was replaced, comma, which was replaced by the Pats dynasty, was then hold on, how would I say this? Because I'm talking in futurity. So how ironic would it be? Are we saying would like it hasn't happened, or has it happened? No, because the Patriots would need to win a couple Super Bowls for this to be a Pats dynasty. How ironic would it be that the Chiefs dynasty, which replaced the Pats dynasty, would go on to be replaced by a new Pats dynasty? How ironic would it be that the Chiefs dynasty, which replaced the Pats dynasty, would go on to be replaced by a new Pats dynasty? Would go on to replace. How ironic would it be that the Chiefs dynasty, which replaced the Pats dynasty, so we're talking about the Chiefs dynasty. Side note, it replaced the Pats dynasty, would get replaced by a new Pats dynasty. That's what I'll say. Would get replaced by a new Pats. How ironic would it be that the Chiefs dynasty, which replaced the Pats dynasty, would get replaced by a new Pats dynasty? There it is. Chiefs Kingdom, New England Patriots, Pats, Patriots. Okay, good comment, Crafty. Time for the pity field goal. Steph Curry with the shot. Oh, my entire teenage and adult life, the Chiefs have been dominant. I'm going to enjoy this. That's crazy, Nick. I'm going on my victory lap. Chiefs can no longer win the AFC West. That deserves a moment. Woody, we did it, buddy. We did it. We did it. The Chiefs can no longer win the AFC West. It was a lot of work, buddy. It wasn't easy. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but you did it. Tell your fans how you feel. How do you feel about it? Uh-huh. Here, they can't hear you. You got to talk into the mic. Well, I just want to say I'm just glad I could help, be here for Kyle. I know that he's always stressing out, freaking out about the Broncos, and I'm just happy he's happy. I'm glad I could be a good luck charm to Broncos country, and I look forward to the playoffs. And we're going to go all the way this year. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Woody. That was very good. That was very good. Because you're a good boy. You're the best boy ever. I love you. You're a good boy. Can I have a kiss? Thank you. And a high five? High five. High five. Good boy. High five. High five. High five. High five. High five. He's like, I can't do it laying down. Yes, you can. You just don't know your own limitations. Your own unlimitations? Your own capabilities? Okay. Chiefs would likely need to run the table with games still remaining versus the Broncos and Chargers and need a higher rated team to fall apart. Well, as I was saying earlier, fortunately for Chiefs fans, not fortunately for Daniel Jones, the Colts are the team that comes to mind when you talk about falling apart. I mean, they got the Seahawks and then the 49ers. That's 2 losses. All right, hold on. Playoff. Let's see. Let's just, like I said, we got to keep it to one thing and one thing only. Can't get carried away with this thing or we will get lost in the sauce. But let's just do this. Week 14 is pretty much over. Let's say that the Chiefs win out, okay? We're going to have them winning every game. Even this one hurts the most. Oh! And then week 18, boom. Chiefs win out, and guess what? They get themselves to 10 wins. They have a 10-7 record. And now, week 15, the Colts lose to the Seahawks. Week 16, the Colts lose to the 49ers. Man, this backup quarterback stinks. Week 17, the Jaguars get it done. I mean, this backup quarterback freaking stinks, right? Then week 18, with it all on the line, Houston playing for seeding, playing for the division against Jacksonville. And this backup quarterback freaking stinks. I mean, look, this Texans team just beat the Chiefs in Mahomes. I'm sorry, but like, which one of these games do you feel great about with this quarterback that nobody knows, right? The fact of the matter is Colts are in bad shape. So if the Colts lose out and the Chiefs win out, that alone would not put the Chiefs in the playoffs. It would knock out the Colts. I'm not sure that was the goal, though. You get what I'm saying? The Colts get knocked out of the playoffs. Somebody from the NFC North has to go. So forget about the 4 seed for a minute. But we have the 5, the 6, and the 7 available. So the Colts falling apart, that's not an option. Okay, so if you're a Chiefs fan, just know that the Colts quarterback getting hurt does nothing for you. If anything, it hurts you because the Colts losing out can't help you. And if they lose out, that means that the teams that could help you are winning, like the Texans winning against the Colts hurts you, right? It looks like I'm going to have to do the simulation with a let me how do I not tie? How do I erase my results? Let me do it this way. Okay, we're going to try with every wild card team. So we tried it with the Colts, it didn't work. Now we're going to try it with the Chargers, okay? First things first, Kansas City is going to win the rest of their games. They beat the Chargers, then they beat the Titans, and they beat the Broncos, then they beat the freaking Raiders. They get to 10-7. Let's verify it says 10-7. Yes, it does. And now we're going to mess around with the other teams that maybe could help. The Colts did nothing for us. And let's go ahead and have the Colts losing these difficult games. And we'll come back to week 15. And now let's go to the Chargers. So the Chargers, let's say they lose to the Eagles tomorrow, right? The Eagles are aren't they coming off a loss? Didn't the Eagles lose? The Eagles, yeah, they got beat by the Bears. I don't know if they're losing 2 in a row, but didn't they lose the week before as well to the Cowboys? Yeah, they lost 2 in a row. So do they lose 3 in a row? I don't know, maybe. That's a really hard game to predict. But let's say that the Eagles beat the Chargers. I don't know if it'll happen. Amari and Hampton might be back. But let's go ahead and say the Chargers lose. Then comes week 15. And, oh my God, I just realized that this might come down to the Broncos playing the Chargers week 18. And if the Broncos beat the Chargers, the Chiefs get in. And I'm wondering if Denver would purposely lose to the Chargers to keep the Chiefs out, if that makes sense. But let's not get at this is easy to lose. Let's stay focused. Week 15, we had the Chargers losing to the Chiefs already. Week 16, the Chargers play the Cowboys. Dallas wins. Oh, my God. Look at that. The Chiefs are the 7th seed right here. And look, I haven't predicted anything crazy. I had the Chiefs winning next week with their season on the line against the Chargers. And I had the Chargers losing to the Eagles, the Chiefs, which is because the Chiefs win. And then they lose to Dallas. And then all of a sudden, here we are. Week 17, and the Chargers have a game against the Texans, and then they have the Broncos game, okay? I think the Broncos will beat them. So, look at that. And then we got to do week 17 as well. Week 17, Houston, I don't know. Let's just say the Texans. I don't think the Chargers are going to lose out all of their games. That's a little intense. Let's have them winning. Well, right now we're just trying to see what needs to happen for the Chiefs to get in. Okay, that's all we're doing. So let's say the Chargers beat the Cowboys as well. So that's interesting. So if the Chargers were 10-7 and the Chiefs were 10-7, the Chiefs would get in over the Chargers. And that's with the Chargers beating the Cowboys after losing to the Eagles and then losing to the Chiefs. Then they beat the Cowboys week 16. And week 17, they beat the Texans. And then week 18, the Broncos beat the Chargers. And the Chiefs would still be the 7th seed. And all the Chiefs did was win out. And all the Chargers did was lose to the Eagles, Chiefs, and Broncos. And while they were at it, they beat the Cowboys and they beat the Texans. And they still are out of the playoffs. So the only way if the Chiefs win out, I mean, the only way if the Chiefs win out for them to get into the playoffs or to miss the playoffs would be if the Chargers win 4 of their last 5. Whoa, look at what this does. Week 18, Broncos win, and look what happens. Chiefs are in, even though they're tied with the Chargers. They're the 7th seed, and then the Texans are the 6th. But look what happens if the Chargers win Week 18. The Chargers move all the way to the 6th seed. The Texans move all the way to the 7th seed. And wow. So let's see if the Chargers win. Wow. You guys, like, if the Chargers lose to the Eagles tomorrow and then the Chiefs handle their business next week, the Chargers could beat the Cowboys. They could beat the Texans in week 18, depending on whether the Broncos lose or win, will have Kansas City in. The Broncos control Kansas City's fate. If the Chiefs were to win out and the Chargers lose to the Eagles tomorrow night, the Broncos hold the keys to the Chiefs postseason. That's crazy. One more time, the Chiefs win out. The Chargers lose tomorrow night to the Eagles because the Chiefs win out. They lost next week, right, to the Chiefs. But then they won against the Cowboys. Then they won against the Texans. And then week 18, Broncos win, Chargers are out. Broncos lose, Chargers come in. Wait, the Broncos win and the Chiefs come in. That is crazy. So the Broncos would have to forfeit the number 1 seed and let the Chiefs into the postseason. Or wait, they would have to. Okay, this is crazy. So if the Broncos want the 1 seed, they have to let Kansas City into the postseason, potentially, depending on what happens with New England and Denver between now and then. But just looking at the Chiefs and the Chargers games, the way it stands is if the Broncos and the New England Patriots were to win the rest of their games, and here we are at week 18, and they're both tied, the Broncos would either get a first-round bye by winning, but then they would let Kansas City in to the postseason. Or they could forfeit the number 1 seed, and Kansas City would miss the postseason because Denver loses the game on purpose, plays all of their backups. We're not having a Kansas City team in the playoffs. We're not doing that this year. Denver could say that. Now, I know that they wouldn't. Denver would not only would they win and get the 1 seed, but Denver would do it gladly because Kansas City being the 7th seed means that if the Chiefs were to win in the wild card round, then guess what? Denver gets to play Kansas City in the divisional round in Denver. And I know for a fact Sean Payton loves that matchup. Loves it. So week 18 could be, hey, if you win against the Chargers, assuming the Chiefs win the wild card round, you've already know who you're playing in the divisional round. When you come out of the first round bye, it's going to be the Chiefs and the Broncos in Denver divisional round. Do you like that matchup? If you don't, all you have to do is put your backups in and you don't have to deal with that matchup. But what an interesting twist. I hope I made that super easy to understand. Predict us losing out. Well, to be fair, I predicted every scenario. I did everything I could to get you guys into the postseason 2 hours ago. And when I did that, you were the one telling me that you guys weren't going to make it to the postseason. You made it seem like I was being too positive. Now I have them losing and I'm being too negative. But Jinja, the Colts, I don't see a path where the Colts, whether they win or lose, I don't see where it affects the Chiefs, because when I predicted them to lose out, to take it to the biggest extreme. Not that I don't think it'll happen. I don't know what the Colts are going to do at quarterback, and they play 4 really tough games like Denver does. I mean, if we lost our starting quarterback, it's like at least we have a really good defense. You know, the Colts are in a real pickle right now. The best thing they have going for them is Jonathan Taylor, but is that enough to beat Seattle, who's the number 1 seed right now? Is it enough for them to beat the Niners? Is it enough for them to beat, Jacksonville? And this is crazy. My mind is still blown by the fact that Week 18, Denver will be able to toy with Kansas City in a way that their fans have never seen before. I wonder what they would do. Do the Chiefs look like a team that can win out? No, they don't. But here's the thing about that. I don't think the Chargers are such a great team that, like, the thought of the Chiefs beating the Chargers is like mind-boggling. Titans, I mean, come on, it's the Titans. And then the last one's the Raiders. So, like, the Chiefs beating the Titans and the Raiders, no, that doesn't shock me. The win against the Chargers, that's necessary. And the Broncos on Christmas, it's hard to sweep a team. I told Rick that with the Packers and Bears. But do I think it'll happen? No, I don't think it'll happen. I hope it doesn't happen, because then we lost the game. But at the same time, like, you're not really asking for that much. You're like, can Kansas City, with their season on the line, win 2 games against a Chargers team that's been up and down all year, and then a game on Christmas in Kansas City in front of their own fans? Can they win? That's like the one game that is like, can they win that one? And like, yeah, of course they can. Denver just played them 3 weeks ago, and they won by a game-winning field goal. Why would we think that we're that much better than them? I mean, I do think that we're better than them, but it's like, also we have to get off our high horse. If we're starting to talk about Kansas City like they're not beating us, we have to keep in mind that home field advantage is worth 3 points. That's what the odds, in Vegas say. So the fact that we won that game by 3, it puts the line even. Like, anything could happen in the Chiefs Broncos game, and nothing is surprising. It's not like the Chiefs won that game. People would be like, what happened to Denver? It's not like the Titans or something like that. So when you say, like, do you really think the Chiefs can win out? I do. Like, I don't want them to, but do I think they can? Like, do I think they're capable? Yeah, I do. I think they're capable of beating a Broncos team that plays them very close. Like, imagine, in the Navy, they always had this saying, it's like a military thing where they say words matter. So you always got to say what you mean, because if I were to say, like, do you really think Tennessee Titans are going to win out? It's like, that is the same thing you're saying with Kansas City, but how different are those 2 teams? You know what I mean? Like, the Chiefs winning out requires them to win 2 games. And both of those games are going to be, at their house. Like, they're playing the Chargers in Arrowhead. They're playing the Broncos in Arrowhead. And then you add the Christmas stuff, and there's Christmas miracles. And I don't know. Do I think it's possible the Chiefs win out? Yes, I do. The elimination scenario is way easier. Chiefs lose, Texans win. Chiefs lose, Texans win. Is that next week? So next week. Oh, okay. So next week, if the Chargers win and the Texans win, which the Texans are playing the Cardinals, so I don't know that. Honestly, that's a toss up for me. I don't know what to think. I guess I would go Texans, but not like by much. And that you're saying that would eliminate for sure. Yeah, that would for sure eliminate them. And Jinja in the chat, I just said predict us losing out, man. That's what's really. Oh, I thought you were saying like you're predicting us losing out. LOL. Like not like LOL where it's funny, but like LOL where it's like passive. Which like I get. I'm like, dude, if somebody was doing that to my Broncos, I would be like, hey, fuck you, buddy. You know what I mean? Like you're just gonna predict us losing out. Um, I didn't know what you that's why texting is so weird. You know, you never understand tone or sarcasm or seriousness. Um, but especially with all these other messages coming in, you get sidetracked. Sorry, Jinja. Bills Pats is a huge game next week. Very much so. And it's even bigger for the Bills have 9 wins. The 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 Chiefs are at 6. So to me, just speaking personally, I feel like Buffalo's a playoff team. It's just a matter of the seeding. I don't think that they can catch up to New England, and that's exactly why in the offseason I said New England could win this division outright. They don't play anybody tough. They have 2 tough games, and even if they lost both of those, it wouldn't be enough. New England would need to lose 3 games. So you're asking them to lose to Buffalo, you're asking them to lose to a Ravens team that's not very good, but those are the 2 most likely losses for New England, especially with the Ravens playing for their season. But then when you get to week 17, you still need New England to lose a game. Meanwhile, Buffalo's going against the Eagles. I mean, like that's no cupcake game. And then speaking of cupcake game, the Patriots are playing the Jets. So you need the Jets to beat the Patriots when they're already on a 2-game losing streak. And if not, you're like, no, the Patriots win that one and we go to week 18. I think this is more likely. The Dolphins. Now, how weird would this be? Let's just see something. Dolphins won today. Let's say the Dolphins win next week. Okay. Against the Steelers. That's like a playoff game for the Dolphins. Every week is a playoff game for the Dolphins. And then the Dolphins win against the Bengals. And then the Dolphins win against Tampa. And then the Dolphins win against the Patriots. So if the Dolphins were to win out, what is going on here? Why is Buffalo glitched? Where is Miami? They're 10-7. And then I guess we have to predict Buffalo winning this. So now Buffalo's projected 10-5. Let's go Buffalo beating the Eagles at home. I think they can. Beating the Browns for sure, yeah. And then week 15, next week, Buffalo has a matchup against New England. And Buffalo would need to win that one too. And that would put Buffalo as the number 2 seed. New England would drop to the 5th if the Dolphins can beat them week 18, and then the Ravens. Because Buffalo's going to take care of New England. That's what you want. You're not asking the Ravens to do your dirty work. You're like, we're going to take care of one of them. So if the Ravens get that one done, then it turns into like, hey, all we need is the Ravens, just 1 week at a time. Can the Ravens beat New England with their season on line? Yes, we think they can. Okay. And that game's at home in Baltimore. The Ravens, I think, will be the favorite in that game. And then all of a sudden, you blink, and week 18, everybody in Buffalo has turned into the biggest Miami Dolphin fans ever, because they know that if the Dolphins, who historically, even with New England for some reason, with Tom Brady, uh, even with Tom Brady in New England, like the Dolphins were always good for a week 18 upset. And it didn't matter. Like if the Patriots were trying to win, it just happens. And the Dolphins, if they're able to win next week and take care of business on their end by beating the Steelers, and then I mean it's not easy. They have to beat the Bengals and Steelers. Not in it's not, let's not act like those are like gauntlets or anything, but they're tough opponents. And then week 17, they have Tampa Bay, so you got to beat Tampa, you got to beat the Bengals, and you got to beat the Steelers. And then week 18, there might be a scenario where if the Dolphins beat the Patriots, they could get into the wild card round, and that is only helping Buffalo win their division. But again, Buffalo has to win out, and they're going to need help from the Ravens and Dolphins. And if the Dolphins lose, before that, whether it be to Tampa or the week before to the Cincinnati Bengals, like I don't know how much the Dolphins are going to care about this game. Crafty, hold on, let me back it up. Oh wait, hold on, I missed something. Texans' remaining games are Cardinals, Raiders, Chargers, and Colts. Going to be hard for the Chiefs to come back and overtake them. I just said to predict. Okay, I saw that one. I thought Jinja wanted Kyle to predict the Colts losing out as a form of reverse cursing. A Bills win puts them within a game of division lead. A Pats win secures the division. It's weird that you say it puts them within a game of the division lead when they need to win 3 games, with them losing 3 games to take over. Like, how does a win put them within 1 when you still need them to lose 2 more times? Because I've done the simulation where I have New England winning all of their games besides Buffalo and the Ravens, and then I have Buffalo winning out, and Buffalo still is a wild card team. The only way I could get Buffalo to win their division is if I had New England lose 3 games. And now you're saying that if Buffalo beats them, well, that took care of 1, but there's still 2 more that need to happen. But you're saying if Buffalo wins, then they're only behind by 1 game. You know what I mean? Very weird. We are hit, dude, big time. Lincoln Riley and Jones was playing bad. Defense gave up. I couldn't watch much. Damn. Yeah. Man, I really was hoping that we would get playoff football though, but like Broncos and Colts. I feel like we would have really enjoyed that. Sitting at the hospital with my grandma, and we had the Ohio State versus IU game on, and the nurse dude was cheering. My grandma could tell I was getting pissed and was like, "Will you turn that off or go?" She's a G. That's awesome. That is awesome. You sound like you got a really good family, Jinja. There's this website that I like to use. It's called NFL Playoff Scenario. I use NFL Playoff Machine. I've never tried that one. NFL Playoff Scenario. NFL Playoff Scenario. NFLPlayoffScenario.com. Wow. This is awesome. Clinches. Okay. Updated for Denver. Wow. So these are the clinching scenarios for the AFC. Denver wins the tiebreaker over New England on conference record 7-2 versus 6-2. Denver wins the tiebreaker over New England on conference record of 7-2 versus 6-2. But that means that the Broncos have just played one more conference game than New England. What happens when New England plays that extra conference game and wins it, and they're both 7-2? Then what happens? Because that's what just happened with Denver and New England, was that Denver had a bye week. New England didn't have a bye week. So there was one more win that the Patriots had, not due to us having more losses. They had one more win due to playing one more game than we have. And it sounds like here, the fact that we have the tiebreaker over New England because we have a 7-2 record versus 6-2 is the same thing. Eventually, New England's going to play that game. And if they go 7-2, then what happens? Because I was told that we control our own destiny. That isn't true. If once New England goes 7-2, they have the tiebreaker. I need to know that. Will this website answer that? Let's see. Do they have a tiebreaker? Updates from results. Washington has been knocked out of NFC East contention. Washington has been eliminated from the playoffs. Ladies and gentlemen, live, I am announcing right now that Washington has been eliminated from the playoffs in 2025. What a fall from heaven, man. They go from being the NFC favorite among many tables. They go from the NFC Championship game with a rookie quarterback to elimination in Week 14. What a freaking unforgiving mother you-know-what the NFL can be. Atlanta has been knocked out of the NFC South title contention, and Atlanta has been eliminated from the postseason. All right, so we got two rookie quarterbacks from the 2024 draft class. I guess they're not rookies, two second-year quarterbacks eliminated. Atlanta and Michael Penix Jr., in Washington and Jaden Daniels. And in both of those teams' cases, their quarterbacks could not stay healthy. Dallas has been knocked out of the 1 seed contention. Not out of the playoffs, just the 1 seed. Okay, that's not terrible. The New York Jets have been eliminated from playoff contention. Yeah, I mean, for the New York Jets, it's more about where they're going to be drafting. They got rid of a lot of stuff. They were sellers at the trade deadline. I got some family friends that came in from Thanksgiving. They're Jets fans, and we talked about the Jets. They're actually really optimistic, and that's how you probably should feel when you have like 7 first and second round picks in the next 2 years. The Jets actually have everything necessary to build something great. But if we know the Jets, we know they won't. But at least they have the tools necessary. Anything can happen. We'll see. The Cleveland Browns have been knocked out of the AFC North title contention and eliminated from the playoff contention in a Shedeur Sanders loss. They went for 2 to tie the game, and the ball ended up getting intercepted, I believe, and the Cleveland Browns, with that loss, are knocked out of playoff contention. The Kansas City Chiefs have been knocked out of the AFC West. Yes. It feels good to say, doesn't it? And the other thing, Kansas City has been knocked out of the 1-seed contention. All right. Speaking of, Baltimore also bounced out of the 1-seed. So Baltimore and Kansas City, no 1-seed for them. Probably the one in the number 2 favorite for the 1-seed going into this season. Are you sure it wasn't Denver or New England? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. All right. Now, we had some teams avoiding elimination today. Minnesota cannot be eliminated from playoff contention this week. Yes, it was a great win for Minnesota, who decided that they were going to remember how to play football today for the first time in a while. J.J. McCarthy had maybe his best game all year. It didn't result in Justin Jefferson having any fantasy value, which somehow is worse than the Vikings just sucking and him not being relevant. But whatever, the Vikings live to go another week, I guess. We know they're not going, but at least their fans aren't eliminated yet. The other thing, Pittsburgh cannot be knocked out of the 1-seed contention. They can't be. Not this week. And I know everybody's nervous. The way that division's going, and all the way up until week 18, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, all their fans are going to be, can the 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers do it? He had an amazing play today. I don't remember if he picked it up with his feet or threw a great ball, but Aaron was locked in today. I saw an Aaron Rodgers I haven't seen in years. Very surprising. I'm one of his big fans. So, I'm being totally honest here when I say, I haven't seen him having that much fun. I think he kissed Mason Rudolph at the end of the game. I mean, I'm talking lips. I haven't seen Rodgers have that much fun. And if you didn't see any of the game, I will tell you, go watch the highlights and judge it for yourself. The only thing I will tell you, and this should answer all of your questions, Aaron Rodgers did the world champions belt celebration for the first time since 2010 when he won the Green Bay Packers the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers rolling out, and then I said, damn, I didn't know he could do that still. Yes, he can. And Pittsburgh, man, if their defense can just get even somewhat close to where they were last year, the Steelers have a chance to disrupt. I think that's the message, right? No matter who you are, you're a Ravens fan, a Steelers fan, a Texans fan. It's has the season gone the way we wanted? No. But here's the deal. It's wide open. In whatever team decides that between now and January, we are going to get massively better every single week. By the time 5 weeks goes by, we're going to be not only in the playoffs, but we're going to be a team that can seriously go to the Super Bowl. And I think that's fun because there's so many years where it's obviously it's Kansas City and Buffalo and Baltimore. And it's no, that's not the way it's going down this year. This year, it's wide open. I think that team's Denver. But you know what these other teams are thinking? If Denver is the bar, then there's no excuse for us not to reach it. I think it's disrespectful, but I'm just telling you, I know that's what they think. So why not Pittsburgh? Why not Houston? Why not these other teams that typically wouldn't be taken super serious? Why not Denver? Why not LA Chargers? This is awesome. I think this might be the most fun. Well, of course it is. My team has sucked for the last 10 years. I think this has been the most fun season, that I've had since doing this channel. duh. Your team hasn't lost in 10 weeks. Like, that aside, just the parody of the NFL, it's a lot of fun. And to be on the winning side of the 1 year where it's kind of okay to lose every, one game every 3 games, because that's just the way the cookie crumbles this year. To be a team that's refused to give in and be like, no, we're not going to do that. You guys do that. We're going to keep winning. That is pretty cool. Playoff status going into week 14. And I know this is what you guys were waiting for. Hold on. Let me hit some of these comments real quick. This segment is awesome. All recommended by me. Look at Nash. He's like, this is about me. Yes, Nash, this is about you because you were the one that did this. So thank you. Replay officials scored a great victory for Pittsburgh today. Oh, yeah. By the way, they got robbed. I forgot about that. I mean, I didn't forget about it entirely, but just in this segment, it was like not on my mind. But yes, I can't wait for like Pat McAfee tomorrow because obviously there's going to be a lot to talk about, and it'll probably start with that. I'd kiss Mason Rudolph. It was hell of a discount double check too. Emphatic. You're welcome. Thank you, Nash. All right, so this is going into week 14. Everybody, get ready for some playoff scenarios. I don't think you guys are ready. I need your energy to get up. All right, so these are the teams that have already clinched a division title. Are you ready? Nobody. Hey, back off. It's not my fault nobody's done it, all right? It doesn't mean it can't happen in week 15. It just means that nobody has already clinched a division title and nobody can clinch a division title going into week 14. So that will have to be for week 15. But there are teams who can be knocked out of division title contention this week. Washington was knocked out. Atlanta was knocked out. Cleveland was knocked out. And the Chiefs were knocked out. Okay, so this was going into week 14. Could care less about this because this is over. Let's go. Let's see. Do they have notes on the week 14? Because, wait, today's week 13. No, today was week 14, right? So I'm pretty sure probably tomorrow they'll update this with week 15, right? Division status, playoff status, conference standings, playoff picture entering week 14. Notes. Let's see what notes say here. Nothing good. Update 1. Update 13, Kansas City knocked out a divisional race. So this just got updated. So clinches. Okay. And obviously the Giants, the Saints, the Cardinals, the Titans, and the Raiders have all been eliminated already. And the teams that were facing elimination, they all lost besides the Vikings. So once again, you got to give Minnesota a round of applause for being the one team that didn't get eliminated. And we'll see what happens next week. I mean, the type of win they had today, sure, maybe it can catapult them into a couple more wins, maybe get the morale up. I mean, look, from this point to the end of the season, it's got to be about one thing, right? Who's JJ McCarthy, right? I've got to imagine that is why all the starters will be playing. That is why you won't be able to tell when you watch the Vikings on television that they've been eliminated. I expect them to play very hard all the way to the end. Number one, because they're coached by Kevin O'Connell. Number two, because I really think they're trying to evaluate their young quarterback and figure out what do we or do we not have with this guy. And that's a big question that they are going to need answered. So the Vikings are definitely, people might call it, oh, the Vikings are trying to play spoiler. Like if the Vikings beat a team like the Chargers, where they don't play, but somebody like that, it's not because the Vikings were trying to play spoiler. It was because the Vikings are coached well and they're trying to figure out what they have and they're playing hard and they're capable of beating a game. You know what I mean? Like we're so quick this time of year when a team's, not playing for the playoffs to be like, they want to spoil you. It's like, or they're professionals and they're paid millions of dollars to do a job and the job's not finished until the offseason starts. Maybe that's what's motivating them. You know what I mean? Like maybe the fact that it's contract year, their contract's up at the end of the year, and all they have is whatever film they've put on, and nothing stands out on film more than a player who's playing through the whistle that's been eliminated from the playoffs. Maybe we're trying to put that kind of film out there so we can get a third and fourth contract, as we're approaching our 30s. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was that, not spoiler. It's just like, I feel like we just label everything as like, oh yeah, they wanted to spoil you. It's like, you don't be so self-centered. Like, no, not every team is thinking about you that much. You know what I mean? Like these people have lives of their own. They're not just going around like, all right, we really, really want to spoil the Texans. Wouldn't it be hilarious though if we go in there and have nothing to play for and beat the Texans to spoil them? They would be the 5 seed instead of the 2 seed. It's like, yeah, I don't know if that's what's getting these guys out of bed. Hate to break it to you, Houston fans, but pretty sure that these guys just are doing their job. But I digressed anyway. But they update this either on Monday or Tuesday, which is great news because as soon as they update this, I'm going to be going live, and I'm not even mad that it's not updated right now because I'd imagine that, when you look at like betting, you'll have 4 games and there's like, you could take the points or you could take the favorite and it's only 4 games. But when you do the math, it's like, there's like 1,090 different combinations, even though it seems like, it's only 5 games. So like, I'm pretty sure they probably throw this into an AI computer, but in the off chance that there's some guy with a freaking pen and paper working this shit out on his own, I would imagine it would take multiple days with the amount of scenarios, because think about it, there's probably still over 10,000 different scenarios that could take place, from playoff teams, elimination, what seeds go where, yada, yada, yada. So waiting until Tuesday is, I think, understandable. And they also include scenarios that have ties, which is what that I think that's the most important, because that's what's going to happen. So, like, of course we want to know, like, yes, that's the most important thing. I don't need anybody to tell me that a team that's 11-6 is going to get in over a team that's 10-7. Obviously, I need to know if there's 3 teams that all are 10-7, which teams are favorited. And that's what my first question was with the Broncos, because look, Denver's the number 1 seed, even though they're both 11-2, because they have a 7-2 conference record, but New England's 6-2. And at some point they're going to play another conference game. And if they win it, and they're both 7-2 with the, let's say they're both 12-2 and both conference records are 7-2. Well, then who has the tiebreaker if they're tied in the conference? So, like, yeah, of course, I know that if New England loses to Buffalo and they go to 11-3 and we go to 12-2, I know that we're the number 1 seed. I need to know that if we are both tied record-wise and conference-wise, then what happens? because that's when even me, who's watched football my whole life, that's when I get lost, because then it goes to like strength of victory. And I can never remember which order it is, because it goes to, I think it starts with division record. After conference record, it goes to your division record. And then it goes to like strength of victory. So the win percentage of your opponents that you've beaten. And who has time to go through all of that? You know what I mean? So very thankful for that. Very thankful for that. But as soon as that does get updated, I'll be going live. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a fucking pleasure. I've had so much fun. Today was a very important day of football, and it felt like it. And I think we had a lot of blowouts in a year where there not really any blowouts to be had. It seems like all of them happened today. Even the games like the Broncos Raiders game, which like on the scoreboard doesn't look like it was a blowout. It was very much out of hand. And then the Raiders, the game losing field goal. I've never heard of that. To only lose by 7, they kick a field goal as time expired to lose by 7 instead of 10. I just love it. It's so funny. But look at this, 31-0, Minnesota. That's not even a normal thing. Like, since when is Minnesota that much better than Washington? Like, Seattle, I saw that coming, 37-9. 34-10, Miami over the Jets. Shocking. Broncos game, lopsided. Rams, Cardinals, lopsided. Houston, Kansas City, 20-10. It actually looks worse on the scoreboard than it felt watching the game. But, you know, that's the score is what it is. They won by 10. It's funny because they gave them such good field position by going for them fourth down that if you just looked at the score, it's like, wow, the Texans like kind of handled the Chiefs. And it's like they both kind of handled each other all night. And then the Chiefs just shit the bed with 5 minutes left and just were like, no, we're going to give you the ball on your own 30, and we're going to do it twice in back-to-back drives. Like, okay, and we're going to win by 10 then. And that's what happened. So the Jacksonville Jaguars, 36-19. It looks like the Colts got some late points too, because I think it was a little, they got a late touchdown, it looks like. Obviously no Daniel Jones in that game. And you got 3 teams in that division now with 9 and 8 wins. But yeah, blowouts everywhere. So, I mean, who would have thought, right? What was the game of the week, Kyle? Well, it was definitely the Bengals in Buffalo. All right. And then the other number 2 game, Titans and Browns, which is like, you got to be shitting me. Are you kidding me? That's the game. I had that game on my local network because I'm in Tennessee, and every Sunday I'm like, ooh, I wonder what game I have. And it's like Titans, Browns. And I'm like, God, why are they always so terrible? You know, and ironically, that was like one of the best games this week. So maybe I'm going to hop in bed and watch the highlights. But you guys have been awesome. Nobody could have said it better than Jinja. Long live Bill Hartman. Thank you guys for watching this week with me. I'm going to have a lot of content coming up this week because of the time of the year. So stay tuned. And once again, I will see you guys on the next stream. Love you guys. Please like and subscribe this video. Share it with a friend. And hit the thumbs up button because I've been gone for a while and I need the algorithm. Thank you. All right. Love you guys. Long live Bill. See ya.